Joining us in the upcoming session, we welcome Louis E. Vasquez, Executive Industry Solution Manager, Huawei, who addresses how technology can be used for preparedness and/or response and long-term adaptation to climate hazards. Louis is Executive Industry Solution Manager for Huawei Latin America, and he works closely with global design teams to ensure products for the market meet the needs of today's mission-critical applications. Joining him would be Julip Tilakaratine, the Senior Market Engagement Manager for Climate Tech Program based in Kandy, Sri Lanka. In his role, he supports MNOs in their efforts to establish stronger environmental management processes with additional focus on e-waste management and off-grid green power solutions. Also contributing to the panel via video this time is Thomas Dugan, who will speak on renewable energy for mobile towers. Thomas is the market engagement manager for climate tech programs. This program aims to unlock and enhance the role of digital technology as an enabler in the world's transition to low carbon economy. So we are going to our first presentation. We have 3 presentations, so we're going to our first presentation.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Luis Vasquez, and thank you very much for me. It's an honor to be able to present you on this occasion the topic that globally takes greater relevance every day, and this is efficiency. So here today we can see how the industry has evolved in a more intelligent world where everybody is connected with the availability of different services, of course. So this digitalization and intelligence of society finally brings with it greater demand of energy consumption, which we cannot try to avoid. Rather, it is to understand the need and the trends to create much cleaner and friendlier forms of energy generation. This is what we are going to talk a little bit today on this presentation. So, according with the Arena, we can observe that the energy demand for 2050 will be almost double of what we had in the consumption in 4 years ago. So, the trend for energy generation will become from 86% of sustainable generation resources for the same 2050, such as solar and wind technologies. But in addition, if we also observe the change to clarification, they will depend more and more on electricity. On having highly efficient systems will be essential for the generation and proper use of energy. This is a global trend where many countries, including Latin America and the Caribbean, are signing agreements now, setting clear objectives of the reduction of GHG emissions. So in this case, Latin America, the Caribbean, very important, are fundamentals of part of this effort. So, well, we can see here that the trend regarding the generation of carbon dioxide is positive for the next few years. We can see in the left of the slide. And this is, of course, for an upgraded demand of energy in the network of the carriers. From this are derived the actions for the reduction in generation. But to calculate the footprint of carbon, there are 3 types of emission, of course. The scope 1 is emissions that are direct emissions produced by the burning on fuels by the emitter. The second one is the indirect emissions generated by the electricity consumed by purchase by users. And scope 3 are the emissions that are indirect emissions that are produced by users' activity but are owned and controlled by an agent other than the user. So it is a little bit confused, but we have three different emissions here. So, but the most important here is that what the other companies is doing around the globe. For example, the UK Vodafone company is preparing to enter the market, and the company issue a bond framework. This is the second company in the sector to enter the market or efficient solution after the Spanish Telefónica issued a bond of 1,000 million euros in previous month. The proceeds of the bonds will be used for projects such as renewable energy, energy efficiency, ecological buildings, and sustainable water management. This is important to invest these acquisitions in terms or improve of this kind of efficient solutions. So this is really important. I just want to share with you a video.
The world is in an energy revolution. Renewable energy has become a popular choice for its low cost and green nature. By the end of 2017, the total installed capacity of PV will reach 80 gigawatts. In 2020, it will reach 100 gigawatts and generate 5% of global power. Most of the increase will come from distributed power system. However, because of high investment and operation costs, solar solution is not widely used in telecom network. To address these challenges, Huawei develops new generation of solar solutions. Huawei solution with 25% higher generation efficiency, 2-time battery life, and smarter algorithm can reduce the energy costs of life cycle by 40%. Huawei solar solutions use high efficiency solar controller and improve solar generation efficiency by more than 25%. Besides, Huawei solution takes super efficiency solar panels. In same dimension, the rated power of these panels is 20% higher than that of traditional ones. Meanwhile, Huawei develops high-density supporting rack. The new supporting rack doesn't require concrete foundation and can be easily deployed in the rural area without road access. Huawei solutions also adopt high-efficiency hybrid battery system. Its maximum charge-discharge efficiency is up to 94%, while the efficiency of lead-acid battery is only 85%. These features help Huawei solutions save footprint by over 30%.
So as you can see here, there are several applications in the telecom, but the strategy mainly is composed of three important parts. The first of the three is the generation of energy from renewable solutions. The second one is to have an intelligent distribution, and it refers to the application and services that will be used renewable energy generation. And as a third point, very important, it is the intelligent consumption. How much we will take advantage of this energy for our use. So it will be of little use to have energy generation from renewable sources and we finally do not use it or take advantage of it as it should. So it's really important to know and understand these three parts because all these three together needs to work as a team and not as individuals. So again, and specifying an infrastructure for telecommunications, in this case for the carriers, that with the current demand of users in terms of voice and data and consumer trends, and of course with the implementation of 5G technology, it will be really necessary to have high availability infrastructure, but above all to achieve that this network operates with high energy efficiency and high operational efficiency. This is really important to the operational efficiency. In this section, it is necessary to have an ecosystem that we can see here that allow us to modernize, change current concepts for more efficient ones, use of solar panels to not depend just only in diesel generators. It is a must to have an intelligent management through monitoring systems, use of lithium batteries, among others. And finally, this infrastructure operates as a system, as I mentioned in the beginning, and not as individuals equipment. With this, we will achieve a self-assessments for decision-making and adjust to the dynamics of the network that is required today. This is really important to have all the infrastructure connected and working as a system. It's really, really important. For access or remote sites, have the solutions that allow us high availability and lower energy consumption. Again, have a simple deployment, efficient and intelligent operation, with adjust automatically and also provide with the information that will allow us to be predictive, obtaining analysis and trends. These hybrid solutions will allow us to operate autonomously, intelligently, and efficiently while maintaining a high level of availability. Remember, availability is really important. It's not just to take care about energy efficiency. We have to consider all the parameters. So these options already have lithium technology that increase its or the useful life for an operation greater than 15 years. This is really important. In another section, in the main central offices and data centers, as you may know, the infrastructure equipment that represents the greatest energy demand are the air conditionings. For this reason, it's necessary, if we want to have a low PUE or have a high efficiency metric, it is necessary to come with solutions that allow us to offer the required temperature and humidity conditions with the minimum energy consumption, such as the evaporative system that we can see here, whose main cooling system is the use of free cooling. This is the first cooling system of the equipment. Later, an adiabatic system, a second option, and as third, the expansion operation this direct expansion through the compressors. So with, of course, this direct expansion capability uses a variable compressor that adjusts to the thermal condition of the sites. So with this system, we can achieve PUE values below of 1.25, for example, and this is very to allow the customer to have a very efficient site. So it is important to understand what do we need in terms of infrastructure in our central offices and data centers as well. So, and again, at the beginning, we talk or I have mentioned about the generation, either with on-grid or off-grid solutions. There are different applications where these solutions fit perfectly since their conceptualization and design is modular, which wants to say that it fits the budget and initial customer requirement, and later an initial expansion to increase generation capacity. So this is related with the budget need, customer need, end user loads, etc., etc. So this is really a very good option, and it is also based on lithium technology that allows longer useful life and greater availability. These off-grid solutions are classified by three parts. The first is as a small or residential solution. It's very small solutions for residential. The second, which is a medium development up to 100 kilowatts. And finally, the third one, which can reach up to 1 megawatt. This is off-grid solutions. But we have, of course, also our on-grid solutions with different capacities and configurations for power generation as required by the customer, as required by the end user. We have been developing a lot of solutions across the region for more than 6 megawatts capacity. In Mexico, there is a 225 megawatts capacity solution for generation for generation with the CFP. So this is really important to understand that we have everything related to these green energy solutions. So, as previously mentioned, Huawei Digital Energy continues to promote this green power generation and efficient power consumption. Of course, accelerating green and sustainable deployment. Here we can see some applications, and of course, all of them are success cases. In terms of environmental protections, this 2.2 gigawatts PV plant, the world's largest single-scale PV plant, was deployed in China to deliver 100 renewable energy. Green 5G sites are deployed in Greece as well. The overall site energy is reduced about or around 51%, and on a single site can save 14,000 kilowatt hours per year. So in terms of poverty alleviation through science and technology, in China, the PV poverty alleviation project covers 116 sites in 95 administrative villages, helping more than 3,000 poor households to increase their income. So, in terms of sustainable development in China as well, 100,000 Chinese trees were planted while green power generation was achieved through the agricultural optical complementary project. So, providing complement or employment opportunity for more than 120,000 persons or people. So as you can see here, applications are many. It is only to know the need and to provide a suitable solution. So it's important to understand the customer requirement and how we can build the proper solution for that application in terms of high efficiency, energy efficiency, high efficiency, operating efficiency, and of course, give or to offer to the customer a very good or very high availability of solutions. And well, finally, acting the four main directions, reducing carbon emissions, promoting renewable energy and solutions, contributing to a circular economy, and conserving the nature. So as you can see, Huawei is committed to offering highly efficient solutions that allow us high availability and improve operating costs, always investing in the development of the new products and solutions with a view of global needs and, of course, the trends, the global trends. So here is the presentation. Just in 5 minutes, 15 minutes. So here is what we have in the digital power. As you can see, there has been a lot of developments. We are committed with the global trends, with these carbon emissions, in order to offer the customers and the different markets solutions that will help us as persons to get better every day. Thank you very so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Louis. Thank you. Now, I did tell you we have 3 presentations in this segment. We're moving on to the second presentation, and the presenter, Dulip Tilakaratne, the Senior Market Engagement Manager for the Climate Tech Program based in Kandy, Sri Lanka. Dulip, screen is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the introduction. So, good afternoon to you all. As it was mentioned, I'm calling or speaking from Sri Lanka. So, it's almost a little past midnight here. So, very happy to join, and thank you so much, CANTO, for having us today. So, as mentioned, I'm Dulip from the Climate Tech Program in GSMA. To provide a little bit of context, you know GSMA well, hopefully. It's a Mobile Industry Association. And within the GSMA, I belong to the Climate Tech Program, and we work towards understanding how digital tech can play a role in low and middle income countries to enable their transition towards low carbon, climate resilience futures. Our program is currently supported by UK aid. And today, I thought of talking to you around climate resilience, just to understand what it means to us in the Caribbean, and ways how technology solutions can be used to build resilience, and also to talk through 3 areas or 3 aspects of preserving the network, digital tech for resilience, and finally also focus on humanitarian connectivity. So let's start off to think about what does it mean to us when we say climate resilience in the region. So as we all know, climate change has resulted in intensifying the climate hazards. And last year is a good example. If you can see the number of named storms itself over the 2020. And as we are also almost in the season, we are also thinking about how climate change is affecting us. So to look at this as a definition, we thought it might be interesting to look at the BRACED program. This is a program which is funded again by UK Aid, and they approach resilience and adaptation and think of 3 A's as a concept. So think of a community and say, what does it mean to be adaptive, right, to these changes? How can we make a community more anticipatory towards these changes? And finally, how can we make a community more absorptive towards these changes? So the question we have to ask is, can digital tech help to increase the adaptation and resilience to these changes or challenges? And what we started to do, just continuing the context, is we looked at digital tech use cases across low and middle income countries where they try to use tech solutions for hazards. So when I say hazards, these were specifically hazards that were induced by climate change in some way. And we also looked at slow onset events such as droughts and sudden onset events such as floods. And across these, we try to map out where digital tech has been used. And this very populated screen would show you that there are many use cases. So we don't want to focus or read everything here, but just to highlight on the left side, you will see that what the types of hazards are. And on the kind of top, you will see different types of disasters or different types of technology that's been used. The red spots, which show maybe areas or hazards that's been more addressed by tech solutions. So one would be the 115, you can see if you would be able to read here, is the floods. So flood might be a particular type of hazard that's been more addressed by tech solutions. And if you go on the vertical side, you see some types of technology has been used more. The push notification or pull content around SMS solutions. We also see new computing technology like big data, GIS mapping, all hitting on the 60s or 50s in the numbers. So that means these new technologies or frontier tech is also playing a role in providing some sort of solutions. So let's look into this and break it into the 3 areas we were trying to look at. So first of all digital tech solutions would be pointless if we don't have the connectivity. So the first priority for us would be, of course, to preserve the network. This picture is from Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria in 2017, where people were trying to get some sort of signal standing very next to a base station. So this shows that the first priority of ours should be safeguarding our network, and how can we look at setting up a comprehensive business continuity plan and taking all necessary precautions to plan for the worst case scenario. What I try to do, since we interact with many mobile operators and talk through with them on these examples, I try to kind of collect few examples from different countries, different markets, not only from the Caribbean, so we could kind of show you how different operators prepare or respond to crisis situations. So some from more developed markets, some from low and middle income countries, so that we can see the wide array of solutions. So in Japan, operators have something we call the super base stations. So these sites are specifically designed so it could cover a radius of 7 kilometers during a crisis. And also their antennas are rotatable based on which area has lost connectivity, and they have backup power for few days, so they can connect areas that's been disconnected. And again, they also work with some ships where they put antenna equipment. The ships would come near the coast of islands which have lost connectivity, so they can cover the coastal area. And the example from Philippines is very interesting, where they are very, very strict. And as you know, Philippines is a very high disaster prone country, and they are very strict on their business continuity plan, to the level they do a trial one day where they take the entire office away to their backup site and run their usual business from that site, to make sure that they can operate during a crisis situation. And the next point is around us being working as an industry. Of course, we are very competitive as industry as well when it comes to our business. But when it comes to a crisis situation, how can we work together is an important question. And the Humanitarian Connectivity Charter is an initiative we started in 2015. And we currently have about 155 mobile operators who work together and look at how technology is used in crisis situations. And this provides a fantastic peer learning opportunity, where some operators, like the example I shared in Japan, they would come forward and share, okay, this is what we do in our country and this is how we help. And finally, it also looks at how the industry can help both the humanitarian sector and the government in a time of crisis. And the third point on this topic, is mainly around how dependent we are on the other sectors. If you think through some of the crises or disasters we had recently, how much dependent are we on electricity? We saw it in Puerto Rico. How much dependent on the infrastructure, for example, the roads, to reach affected sites. And also, in most cases, we operate in small island states, how important it is to think of commercial flights or transport as well, to maybe send our staff to those islands or manage something in those islands, again become quite challenging for operators. So think through all these proactively would be very important. And when we think of kind of preparing ourselves for the worst situation, it's really important for us to think of a emergency telecoms policy in our country. Do we have a robust policy that kind of looks at telecoms as an emergency setup and identify the roles of each partner, each player, and say this is what we will do in a crisis situation? So the ITU a couple of years ago published a really comprehensive guideline for a national emergency telecoms plan. In case you haven't seen, please feel free to access this, and you'll be able to see how to set up a strong and comprehensive emergency telecoms policy. And moving into the next sector or next section, I thought of highlighting some of the tech uses for resilience. And this example is from Sri Lanka itself. And this is something launched in 2008. You can see a feature phone here. So this alarm device, the yellow color one, was used to send alerts to the feature phones those days. And this was set up after our very bitter learning after the tsunami in 2004. However, this service is now expanded to cover multiple types of tech, which I can come to in the next slide. So in the next two slides, I just wanted to talk through using tech. So it doesn't need to be the most flashy or most modern technology. It could even be a basic type of technology that we use. For example, it can be a SMS solution, it can be a hotline or a cell broadcast solution if we have it available. So a couple of examples, one from Nepal. And in Nepal, they have this flood alerting system where in case there is a high rainfall on the higher grounds, so the operator works with the Department of Meteorology, and they send these alerts through the operator's network to a specific location that would be at higher risk. And this has saved many lives. So it gives people at least a couple of hours or sometimes maybe 10 minutes to get their stuff and get out of their houses as soon as possible, those who are based in the downstream. And The next one is an example again from Dune. I mentioned earlier the system set up in Sri Lanka. This was set with the National Disaster Management Center in Sri Lanka, with the mobile operator using their network to send out alerts, and now it works through multiple platforms. So it works on SMS, cell broadcast. It also has an API, so where media companies and others can subscribe into this service. And why I brought up a Sri Lankan example is, interestingly, we are currently trying to set this system up in Haiti with the regulator there, and also with the disaster management center there. So that's a classic example of learning through the industry. And looking at a slightly more advanced or frontier tech, as we call it, we see many types of technologies being used for resilience. And we also see that in many cases, if it can be used in innovative ways or innovative combinations with other types of tech, it might provide additional resilience. So the example I wanted to talk through is the Nokia Saving Lives initiative. This is an effort from Nokia, where they are looking at drones, and these drones are connected by 4G connectivity, and they have cameras and other types of technology which can bring back imagery or video or heat, thermal recognition tools, which bring immediate impact assessment after a crisis. So these drones could be flown into an affected area where it can bring back these visuals immediately, helping humanitarian and also operators to respond faster. And also today, with all the GPS and satellite data available, there are many sources where you could access information and also see how you could be better prepared. And NASA database is one of the better examples, where you will be able to access a lot of information on energy or availability of the electricity grid and some of the other factors as well. And they have really interesting training courses which they are offering as well. And finally, moving into the last bit of my presentation, I thought of covering something called the humanitarian connectivity, where we also look at how digital tech can play a role in strongly connecting the humanitarian groups who come to assist communities. So this, again, I mentioned the Nokia Saving Lives initiative. This is how it was tested in the Philippines. So the groups that work together would be the Philippines Red Cross, that is the humanitarian agency, working with the mobile operator who provides the LTE connectivity for the drones, and the Nokia team would train the Red Cross members so that they are able to understand or decipher the imagery to plan the response better. And just to say, the emergency telecoms cluster plays a very important role in this aspect, where they provide connectivity to other humanitarian agencies who come to a country to respond. For example, in case of a severe disaster and a country needs assistance from international humanitarian agencies, so all the humanitarian agencies would come, where the connectivity for these agencies would be provided by the emergency telecoms cluster. And you would understand it is really important if the emergency telecoms cluster is actually connected to the mobile operator in the country. So in this way, the ETC is also part of the humanitarian charter, and that way they could be better connected to the operator on the ground, so that they can be looking for solutions, and as the operator recovers their network, that can assist the ETC also to prepare and help better, and help all the humanitarian agencies to help the community better. And final example is, as we all know, there are many mapping sources and resources available today, and many of us keep it to our own company. So what if we try to bring some of these mapping solutions together and use them to have a live visual of what's happening in the network, what's happening in the grid, what's happening in the Facebook community in one map. And if this could be used as a response tool for the government, for the operator, and also for the humanitarians, this would be massively useful. And hats off to teams in Dominica for putting up their hand to use Dominica as one of the pilot countries for this effort, which is led currently by the ITU and the WFP. So that is my last example, and the presentation overall was for us to have some initial thoughts to see how digital technology can play a valuable role in creating adaptive, anticipatory, or absorptive capability of a community. And so the call to action here would be mainly if you in the region are interested in providing digital tech, or you have already provided digital tech solutions during a crisis or for resilience. We would be very, very interested to hear more about it. So you could always reach out to us and share the information, and we will see how this collective information can be used to support your region as well as the rest of the world. Thank you very much, and thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doleb. Also contributing via video, we have Thomas Duggan, who will speak on renewable energy for mobile. Tom is the Market Engagement Manager for the Climate Tech Program. This program aims to unlock and enhance the role of digital technology as an enabler in world's transition on the low-carbon. In his role, Thomas supports MNOs in their efforts to implement clean technology solutions. Let's go to Tom's video.
Hi there, my name is Tom Duggan. I work at the GSMA as part of the Climate Tech Program. Very pleased to be here with you virtually today to talk about the use of renewable energy mobile towers. Our program is funded by UK Aid, and we try to unlock the power of digital technology in low to middle income countries to enable their transition towards a low carbon, resilient future. For the last year and a half or so, we've been working about mechanisms for in 2021, this year, globally, there are around 350,000 off-grid and back-grid powers that are not powered by on-site renewable energy. This results in around 7 megatons of CO2 emissions, which is approximately 3% of the entire industry's emissions. In the Caribbean, around 11,000 towers, and 11% of these are either in off-grid or back-grid areas. So just quickly to have a look at one of the sort of recent Huawei installation in Bermuda of a 6 megawatt solar array. Another. So this one is done by Cavern Systems on Phoenix Tower. There's also, as a disaster-prone region, sort of an increasing need for renewable energy to provide both backup and primary energy power sources. So what are the barriers that are preventing renewable energy from being adopted in greater quantities? So the Caribbean is made up, as you all know, of many small economic markets that are driven by very unique subsets, making grid maturity and standardization a challenge. ESCOs in the region are also at a nascent stage, and there is a lack of benchmarking and standardization of contracts for ESCOs. As well, the use of CapEx to fund solar installations is competing against other high priority demands such as network upgrades. I'll pass over these next few points to go on to the next slide, which talks to the renewable energy opportunities. So with M&M groups having OpCos across multiple islands, working at a group level, could be a potential opportunity to allow ESCOs to scale. As well, the high energy cost creates a significant incentive for models such as the energy as a service model that ESCOs can offer. And MNOs are able to use that to benefit from improved reliability and reduced OPEX. As well, new technologies are facilitating this model to become even more financially viable. And the flexibility of these models are allowing MNOs to customize and select the model that fits their market needs. Just like to run you through one of the climate tech team's resources that we've been putting together to support the industry in its use of renewable energy. It's called the Renewable Energy Dashboard, and it's available, it's live on our website now. The Renewable Energy Dashboard hosts a number of kind of important pieces of information. Both takes a global perspective, so we got here the global number of towers, the towers that are powered by renewable, and the proportion of towers that are running on diesel, as well as sort of global estimations of emissions. We also bring content from across the industry, reports, and to highlight sort of anything that's relevant and important to the use of renewables in this space. But at the heart, the dashboard is essentially an interactive map. It allows you to move around and select different countries and regions of interest. At the moment, you'll see we have sort of two colors to distinguish between two different data levels. We have countries colored in red, as you can see here, we've got Colombia, for example, and red indicates a country where we've been able to work with operators to get validation on our model, check our data, and be able to display sort of a detailed breakdown with a good level of confidence between the different segmentations or categorizations of towers. So for countries like Colombia, we're able to break down towers into their off-grid, on-grid, and bar-grid proportions and look at how many of these towers are powered by renewables. But as you can see, we have here a good opportunity to work with any operators in the Caribbean region, and we'd really love to be able to bring these countries that are currently colored in gray, which is a sort of a partial data where we don't have the full levels of verification that we need from operators to display as much detail. And we'd love to work with you to bring the dashboard for the Caribbean region to its maximum highest level of sort of fidelity. So what does the full country data look like? We've got here an example of the DRC, and we can see we're showing sort of high-level demographic information as well as a country summary and sort of market share information of the operators. And then this is what I mentioned earlier, is the breakdown of towers into three categories, the off-grid, bar-grid, and on-grid, and how for each of these categories you can see how many of them are powered by on-site renewables and not. And you can see as well sort of proportions and sort of emission estimations and tower ownership information. As well, really important is sort of linking partners. So we have we display on the dashboard sort of partners who are active, both sort of energy service companies, tower codes, operators, as well as potential project partners, for instance, vendors of renewable energy equipment and other useful resources in terms of sort of regulatory bodies affecting the use of and adoption of renewables. Equally important is the regulations. So as you all know, the effect of regulations on the use of RE is incredibly important. We highlight here sort of a summary of the important regulations that are affecting the use of RE, including things like net metering policy, whether there is a feed-in tariff for RE available. And lastly but not least, we show case studies and projects. So a great opportunity to highlight work that's been done by operators in the region, and we'd love to take examples from your work and display it on the dashboard. You can see here we have a few examples from the DRC. And finally, I'd just like to sort of be interested to hear from you and maybe just run you through a few of our thoughts around sort of what can be done within the industry to support further and greater use of renewables. So one thing that's particularly relevant for the region is the research into how renewable energy solutions can be made more resilient to climate hazards. As well, as I mentioned, we want to capture more data on the dashboard for this region and allow sort of greater opportunities for peer-to-peer learning, sharing of case studies and examples. We also want to think through the opportunity to build through tools, ways in which operators and tower owners can evaluate renewable energy opportunities and assess them, and hopefully sort of see the business case for using renewables as clearly as possible. We also want to study the policies and regulations that affect the renewable energy solutions. So thank you very much for listening, and please do reach out to us if you have any questions or want to find out more about our work or get involved with the dashboard or any of our other initiatives. Thank you.